Hi, my name is Justin, aka Ghost Reader, and today I am going to do a review of the book Sophia, the Mother of Kings by Catherine Curzon. This book was actually quite enjoyable to read. Usually, like when it comes to like biographies of like figures from this era, they can be kind of dry, but this one was actually done very interesting, very engaging. For at least for me, I think for some people it may be a bit too, the writing style may be a bit too not academic enough, but I thought that this was really great. For this particular for Sophia, she herself is very interesting, and a lot of the information from this book actually comes from her own memoirs. So I thought the author did a really good job at kind of bringing out her character from her memoirs into this book. So basically, this book is about Sophia of Hanover. Sophia was born to the exiled king and queen of Bohemia, and basically she spent a lot of her life in the exile from Bohemia. Her father was actually called the Winter King, and her mother the Winter Queen, because they only ruled for a winter. And basically she goes from being kind of like just, you know, a daughter of an exiled king and queen to eventually becoming heir to the throne of England, and her son becoming George the First and grandson George the Second. Her daughter also ended up marrying the king of Prussia as well. So her kids actually did pretty well for themselves. And she lived, I think, to be about 83 years old. And along the way, the author kind of walks us through how family life at home, even though she was a noble, it wasn't great. Her mother was kind of like wasn't the greatest person in the world. Life at court was a lot of backstabbing and politicking and power playing. And yet Sophia kind of keeps some of herself, some of that playful, humorous warmth about her. And that the author kind of brings that out and shows how she did that. And then it moves on to talk about like how, you know, matchmaking was working and how there was a lot of power play behind like who you married. And there was one point in time where she couldn't have married, I think it was like the king, I think it was it England? Yeah, she had the chance to marry the king of England, but she was like, eh. And so she kind of had a little bit of say of who she married and who she didn't. But she actually ended up marrying someone who actually ended up attaining a very high rank in the Holy Roman Empire, became the Electorate of Hanover. And then it talks about how she kind of, you know, raised her own kids and going through motherhood, having to deal with her husband's, you know, mistresses, because back then that was the thing, a husband could have a mistress. But there were even rules to that. It was the mistress kind of had to stay in her lane, and, you know, the wife stayed in hers. But there's also like back and forth with that, because sometimes a mistress could be very ambitious, and so she had to deal with some ambitious mistresses and ambitious sister-in-law that was trying to push her own agenda. So there's a lot of like agenda playing going on, and Sophia kind of just takes a lot of this in stride. But she has a lot of losses too. She loses her father at an early age. She loses, throughout her life, she loses her brother, who was kind of like her father. Her brother has a very interesting relationship with his own wife. They used to fight all the time, and then make like passionate love and make up. And it's kind of like this, like circle of fight, make up, until finally he gets some mistress, and then she like loses it, tries to kill the mistress. I mean, court life was very, very exciting. There was not one dull moment to say the least. But through all that, Sophia still maintains she was very keen on etiquette, because she was noble, royalty actually, and so she was very gung-ho on etiquette and rules and following the rules of etiquette. However, she also was very warm in inviting to people who she could call friends and family. She's definitely very family oriented. She took a role in raising her own kids. She actually raised her own daughter not in either Protestantism or Catholicism, because she wanted her own daughter, when she got married, for that not to be a sticking point. She kind of did that for like her own happiness. So like, for example, she decided to marry someone who was Catholic. There wasn't a big hullabaloo about, oh my God, like, you're Protestant, don't do that, or the vice versa. So she's very loving about her kids, and she actually lost some of her own children, which was very hard for her, and also losing her husband. But through all of that, you can kind of see the strength and resilience of this woman who could have actually been Queen of England if the current monarch, I think the current monarch only outlasted her by like 3 weeks. If she had actually lived 3 weeks longer, she actually could have been Queen of England. But I thought the author did a really good job of bringing out the strength of Sophia's character, the lighthearted and humorous of a character, even through all like the hardship that Sophia goes through or went through in her life. And so I really enjoyed reading this book. I liked the author's writing style. It wasn't really academic. This is definitely, I feel, more towards a general audience than it would be like for like an academic. But I really like this book. I give it like a 4 out of 4 stars. And yeah, so I learned a lot about like English. I actually learned some stuff about English politics I didn't know, and a lot about the workings well, I kind of had some knowledge of the workings of court life back then, but a little bit more insight into like what court life was like for a woman in the late 16, early 1700s. So that is the end of this review. If you like this review, let me know down in the comment section below. I have, let's see, 6 more books to read and review. I'm almost done with Feminist City. I should finish that in a couple of days. And I'm going to start reading A River of Royal Blood, I think it's called. I keep forgetting the name of the book, but I'll start reading that soon as well. But yeah, I have 6 more reviews coming, so keep your eyes out for that. I'm not sure when I'm going to get this one up, but definitely keep your eyes out for those reviews. Most of these books, like this book actually publishes on October 29th. So I think it's the 29th or the 30th. I'll put that down in the comment section below. But yeah, so keep an eye out for those reviews. So if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at GhostReads28, on Instagram at Justin the Ghost Reader, and also on Goodreads. The link to that is down in the description box below. So as always, keep reading.